financial problems, elder law, criminal law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by Thav Gross. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. Today's topic is, and when I die, what about the debt? This topic is brought to you by Brian Small. It was his idea. Brian Small, good morning.
Good morning, Ken. A pleasure to be here.
If you enjoyed the show, give all the credit to Brian Small. If you find the show to be boring and dull, then give all the credit to Brian Small. Jeffrey Linden, good morning.
Good morning, Ken.
Kelsey Simasko.
Good morning.
How are you? We'll do everything we can to make the show exciting, Brian, so that you get credit for having come up with a good
This
topic.
is absolutely fantastic.
So, do your debts go away when you die? Because, I always say, when I'm dead, I don't really have to worry about this stuff.
Well, that's the thing.
Yes and no.
You go away when you die. The ramifications of what you owe and how you owe it, they stick around.
All right, so if I have credit card debt, I got $100,000 of credit card debt in my name, and I die,
Yep.
and and basically my estate doesn't have much in the way of assets. Those assets that I have are already in my spouse's name, and I get a big life insurance payment, and she's the beneficiary of the life insurance, and she gets that money. Does she have to pay my credit cards?
Well,
No.
let's tell you
Did
what.
she sign on to assume the debt?
Well,
She a
yes,
joint owner of
assuming
it.
they're your credit card.
She's not on the card.
Then
So let's
no.
let's go through what really happens.
So I'm going to do two questions. She's not on the card, but she has an additional card that I provide
an
her.
authorized
So
user.
she's an
Yes.
authorized user. So she's going to come in and talk to us, or she's going to do something before she talks to us, and that's the problem. So the widow is going to get all these bills, and
This is
She
a
just
big
got a
problem.
He
check
or
for-
she
and
doesn't-
She just got a check for $2 million of life insurance.
And one of
Yes.
the things that she believes
For her.
or he believes that needs to be done is I need to pay those bills.
clean up the mess.
Right.
I wish every time I wish they'd call me before they write those checks.
Yep,
I
because
make
they
them
don't
cancel
have
the checks before I come back.
they don't have to pay the bills. You do not have the debts of the decedent must be paid with probatable assets. Or if there are probatable assets, or if there are assets passing through a grantor trust,
So I
the
own-
debts of the
so-
decedent are paid through
So
the
we
trust.
owned a house
A
together
lot of
as
big
tenancy by the entireties, and and the house is owned free and clear.
So when
That house
spouse
passes to
A
her.
died, the house automatically is owned 100% by spouse B.
So-
and the creditors have no claim, creditors of spouse A who died have no
So if
claim.
that house was worth $500,000, I don't have $250,000 of assets that should go to pay those credit cards.
No.
No.
But that's what everybody thinks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, nobody really knows, though. There's this process called disallowing claims, where once you pass away, your debt gets rearranged, right? And if it's debt that's connected to your house, you got to pay the debt that's connected to your house. They can come back and get that house. But if it's something like a credit card, even if those assets are going through that grantor trust, you just disallow the claim.
But that's a strategy in
It's a
dealing with
strategy.
the debts of the decedent. It's not
Because of how it
necessarily the only way to handle it. I mean, the debts of the decedent are supposed to be paid by the estate. But if you have a method to disallow them, fantastic. If you have a method where you don't even have to pay them in the first place through creative estate planning, even better.
I mean,
Well,
I
it's
have-
a combination.
Let me give you an example. My father, so this isn't a husband and wife, but my father had no assets. He was paying rent, he had credit card debt, he had liabilities, and he was just getting by, and I was helping him along. He had leased a car from Ford Credit, and I returned the car in when he could no longer drive. and then they sold the car. And
Much to his chagrin.
There's an $8,000 deficiency. And Ford Credit is calling me because I had communicated with them about surrendering the car to them. And they're saying, well, will you settle? I said, no. And he said, well, why don't, I said, my father doesn't have any money. There's nothing to settle for. All he gets is Social Security.
Yeah, stop
So
for a
they
second
said,
before you continue.
well, why
that,
don't you pay it?
Let's tell, if you have Social Security income only and you're retired and you owe debt, one of your potential solutions to dealing with your debt is ignoring it, depending on your other assets, because your Social Security can never be garnished ever by any creditor other than the Internal Revenue Service. So
the caveat.
that
It's a big one, but-
it is a big one, but opportunity to go about
Yeah.
living your life when money is super tight exists if your income is only Social Security. Call me, we'll discuss it. Continue.
I'm glad you said that because it's a really big point. Is there's so many people out there that are struggling, and when you're older, maybe a Chapter 7 is necessary, but maybe it's not even necessary. Maybe just a little counseling so you know what you can ignore. People, particularly, everybody's vulnerable to the phone ringing and being harassed of saying the pressure of the phone call from the creditors so often results in them getting paid. We were talking on a different show. You were saying how people pay their credit cards, but they fall behind on their mortgage and their car payments. Why is it?
Because credit cards call all the time,
they
incessantly.
call instantly. Yeah, and when they
Oh,
do
I'm sorry,
that,
Mrs. Smith. You're exactly 3 minutes behind on paying your bill.
and your credit score is going to go down. How many people over 85 years of age still worry about their credit score? I'm telling you, it's through the roof. And their children, if you talk to them, they're saying, well, I'm going to pay my dad's credit card bill because I don't want his credit score to go down. And I sit there saying, what does he need a credit score for?
Right.
See, that's my
Right.
favorite conversation to have with people, where once you reach a certain age, you kind of beat the game, right? You're not going to buy another house. You're not going to buy a boat. You really don't need credit for everything. You spent your life being American Express's best customer, right? And so make them work for you.
I had a client in last week, and her father is 99 years old.
Oh, God.
He's doing okay. And they live together in a condo, and she's in a fight with the condo association because they're not repairing things that are their obligation. So I suggested, well, maybe, one remedy is we'll send them a letter, we'll refuse to pay, and then if they bring an action for non-payment, we'll defend it. Oh, I don't want to do that because they'll report my father delinquent on his credit score, on his credit.
He's 99. Who
I said,
cares?
he's 99 years old. Oh, I can't do that to him.
Right.
I think he would
This is-
love it.
This is so common of a problem that, so when we come back from, here's the question, when we come back from the break is, what debts do have to be paid, what debts don't have to be paid, and how should you handle these things?
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Fav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Fav Gross today, 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirschner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
Worth Ave Gross, our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Okay, Lisa, we have one last question for you. How old should your grandkids be before they can take the money and spend it on their own?
Thanks, Grandma. Thanks, and I'm getting mine next week.
35.
You've worked hard your whole life to create a lasting legacy for your heirs. Let Simasko Law help you make the right decisions to protect the ones you love. Simasko Law, protecting what means most, because that's what we do.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Thav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem. All right, so what debts do have to be paid? Let's deal with
start with
depends.
the
We're talking
debts
about-
of the decedent have to be paid. That's what it's supposed to say, right? Now, what do you really have to pay?
The debts of the decedent have to be paid
To
if
the
there are
extent that there are
in
assets of the estate.
Yeah.
Other
Or-
than that, nothing needs to be paid.
Right. So the way it works is the ideas that you identified, the life insurance policy, that the beneficiary is not the decedent or the decedent's estate, a house or other assets that are jointly titled in some way.
Nothing.
None of that is in the estate. So you look, is this money in the estate large enough to pay the debts? That's your first
So
question.
let's suppose I die and there's a bank account in my name with $100,000 on it, and it's either in my name or it's in my revocable trust, and there's a $50,000, there's 5 credit cards of $10,000 each that are exclusively in my name.
Right. So you go through, so on
Do you
the
have to pay
surface,
those?
maybe. On the surface, you look at what you have, and then you go through a sequence, and you prioritize debt, and you have to decide if there are enough assets to pay all of the expenses of the estate. And there's a list, the statutes give a priority, and that includes the costs of doing the probate and the work you have to do it. It includes secured debt, it includes taxes, it includes medical debt and creditors, and then the heirs. And if there's not enough to do all that at all, then you get priorities. And you can settle for things. And what Kelsey was saying before with creditors, they have to file a claim. You have to give notice, and it takes, in Michigan, a contract statute of limitations to sue is 6 years. It takes that 6 years and it makes it 4 months. If they don't act to present their claim
Once
properly
you
in
give
4
notice.
months,
How do you give notice?
you publish it in the legal newspaper, and if you know who the creditor is, you send them a
All right,
copy.
so let me change my facts a little bit. I have the bank account with the $100,000 on it, but there's a POD, paid on death beneficiary designation,
So
to
that-
my spouse.
Then it goes to your
goes to
spouse
your spouse.
outside of the estate, and it isn't money that's in the
So-
pool to pay the
So,
debts.
big point. Biggest, most awful mistake would be to have a bank account in your name with no beneficiary designation at all, because then it ends up in your estate.
All right, wait,
Otherwise, it doesn't. Right?
Back
Right.
up for a second. So start off with what a traditional estate plan is designed to do, right? A traditional estate plan is designed to have your assets go where you want them to go. If you're married, it says it goes to my spouse first, and then the trust says if my spouse predeceases me, to my children. If any one of my children predecease me, to their issue, if any, and then to their surviving brothers and sisters, right? It's supposed to guide you through step by step
Where the assets go.
down the family tree, right? And that works perfectly in a situation where you have limited or no debt in of the grantor. When there's considerable debt of the grantor, if the first words of the trust are pay the debts of the decedent, right? So you don't want to do that. You have those assets, you want to pass them outside of the estate by operation of law. by creating things like ladybird deeds for the house, by having designated beneficiaries on bank accounts that are not part of the pass outside of the estate. Again, sometimes we have to get super creative because you have money and you don't want to pay your bills. So while you're alive.
You raised a good question. Let me throw it out there. Every will and trust you see in the distribution has that provision about paying legal debts. What if you don't have that provision in the trust?
The law implies it.
Is there a statute or is it implied?
It's a statute.
Okay. So it doesn't matter if you
Nice
say.
try, Mr. Gross.
But
What if you had a trust that says I expressly direct my trustee not to pay any of my debts?
So this assumes that the trust is a revocable trust.
Yeah, and
right?
right.
If you do an irrevocable trust,
then it's
a different
Then it's a
ballgame.
different
Right, which is
as long as it's not voidable as a
so
fraudulent
you can
transfer.
so you know that whole chain. You still, the reason why you have a trust is so you control where the distributions go. And a big issue in trusts are, well, you don't want the 18-year-old grandson to get $150,000 because it'll be gone in a week.
So just give him the credit card debt.
No, what you do is
Give him his own credit card.
you create a non-grantor trust, otherwise known, which is an irrevocable type of a trust, and the money goes in, it gets controlled upon.
And who's the trustee?
Usually,
Not
not the beneficiary.
Not
Not the
grantor.
beneficiary and not the grantor, because that's what
But it could be the
makes it
grantor's
not-
spouse.
Well, the beneficiary can
It,
be the
and it
trustee.
can be the grantor can be.
Not to prevent, well, we're talking about to avoid the
for debt. Yep.
I mean, the trustee of the trust until it becomes irrevocable. You fund it with $10, and then you fund it
Right.
with the
All
beneficiary
right,
of the
don't
bank
get,
account. But
don't get into
Yeah.
too much
Minutia.
detail. So all right, so that's a strategy.
Right.
So what about this one? Credit card comes in, you write on the credit card, dead. You put it in the envelope and mail it back. Put date of death, mail it back.
Yep.
Next month it comes again.
Did you
same
publish?
thing. Nothing. You did nothing. You just keep writing. Credit card comes, date of death, dead.
eventually,
back.
I can tell you what really happens. Eventually, you get a phone call, dear so and so, or a letter, dear so and so, we're so sorry for the passing of so and so. Is there an estate?
Who's responsible for answering that letter? Is anybody? You get that letter. You're not the person who died. The letter's going to the person who died or his next of kin. Do you have any obligation to respond to the letter?
Short answer, no, but the longer answer after the break.
Good deal.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Thav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
For almost 60 years, Simasko Law has been the trusted source for helping families navigate the uncertain world of estate planning and elder law. And now, our firm is growing even stronger with the addition of attorneys Joe Frazard and Kelsey Simasko. 2 more lawyers to make sure your family is protected now and into the future. Call Simasko Law today for a free consultation. Our hardworking team is standing by to provide you peace of mind. Simasko Law. Protect what matters.
Is the debt piling up? Struggling to get by?
It's all about preserving future income. Bankruptcy is one option. When it's right, it's the least costly, most effective way to save your home, eliminate a second mortgage, and wipe out credit card debt. But you need to address the problem now.
We help people with bankruptcy. Call the experts.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Time for announcements. I want to announce Thav Gross has opened a new office downriver in the Horizon Building on Eureka Road. So now we're in Flint, downriver, and also our home office in Bingham Farms. Remember, you can always come in for a free consultation. You can do it by Zoom conference, in the office, any way that works best for you. Just call 888-235-HELP or go to the website, thavgross.com, to sign up. Debt issues, tax issues, estate planning issues, business law issues, elder law issues with Pat or Kelsey, disability issues with Jeff Kirshner. Again, sign up at lawandreality.com or thavgross.com or just call 888-235-HELP. Also, if you go to the website, you'll see there's free reports. Resolving Tax Problems, The Real Solutions by Jeff Linden and myself. Bankruptcy, Is It Right for Me by Brian Small. How to Save Your Home from Foreclosure. Business Formations, Loans and Grants for Small Businesses in Detroit and Michigan. And The Retiree's Guide to Social Security by Pat Simasko. I want to thank our sponsors, Thav Gross, Simasko Law, Kirshner Law. Now back to the show.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. You can't work. You have to deal with pain and stress. Worse yet, our system for applying for disability benefits seeks to deny you the benefits you're entitled. Jeff Kirshner is an expert in obtaining disability and workers' compensation benefits for his clients. You need to call Jeff before you apply or after you're denied to get the benefits you deserve. 888-235-HELP. 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
Credit card bill comes in, deceased, date of death, mail it back. Now you're saying, okay, they send a letter. They send a letter and it's directed to
Whomever.
me,
Yeah.
who I'm dead, and my wife gets the letter. Does she have an obligation to respond?
So if there's a, yes, if there's
Throw it out.
If there's a trust or a probate estate,
There isn't.
whoever, but there may have to be at some point. What people don't understand, and it doesn't always happen, is that a creditor can be the one who files for probate and start that process. Okay, and then whoever is the personal representative has the obligation to do
Then it
reasonable
creates
diligence.
a problem.
Right.
So let me ask the
But that
scenario.
assumes that there's a will or a trust.
No, it
then
doesn't.
anything or even intestate succession. But if all the money passed outside of
Well,
the
well,
estate,
There still has to be money to pay, but
Follow me here. Okay, so let's say there's a $100,000 credit card bill,
yeah.
2 cards that we're refusing to pay, and there was money in that estate, and you keep saying dead, dead, dead. Am I correct to say if you never open an estate and you never give notice, you don't get the benefit of that 4-month rule where the claims go away?
Right.
The credit card company then can rely on the 6-year rule before they probably have 6 years before they even have to open the estate. They just have to get that estate opened before the statute of limitation ran on the credit card debt.
They get a little bit of benefit. If you don't give notice, they have 3 years from the
3
date
years.
of death.
Okay. But if you kept sending the notices and saying dead and never answered their
You can
calls,
potentially
and
time it out.
3 years ran.
But even if you didn't time it out, your better option is to give the notice and shorten. Here's what you do. Okay, it's not your credit card. Okay, let's say Brian's your personal representative. You've passed away. They're mailing you the notice. They haven't notified the personal representative. Okay, you have a due diligence to find the
Is
debts
he
of the
the
decedent.
personal representative if he's listed as that under my will, but my will has not been submitted to probate and he hasn't been appointed? Or
No,
is he just
he's only
Brian?
He's just Brian until he's appointed. Right there, appointed. But once he's appointed, he's got some obligations to do. So what you do is you send out the notices, okay, or you publish the notice. They have the 4 months. If they file a proof of claim, okay, Brian didn't incur the debt. Brian hasn't done the math. Brian doesn't know if that debt's legitimate. So what Brian does is he consults his probate lawyer, probably, hopefully, if he's a smart person. And the probate lawyer says, you don't know if that's a valid debt. We don't know what's going to happen. Disallow the claim.
And then
So
they
we
have to
disallow
file
the
their
claim.
lawsuit.
Then they have 63 days from the disallowance to file a lawsuit against the personal
Which would be
representative.
very difficult for a credit card company to then transfer it to a local attorney to get action taken. Be very unusual.
It would
for
be
them to
very
do it.
unusual.
Here's
And
here's
most
my
of the
point.
time, it goes away.
See if we all agree on this. The perspective that we take when the client comes in is from the standpoint of what can we legally do and position you not to pay the debt.
Right.
The goal isn't to say you must do this, and then you get to cut the check and send them the money. Instead, the analysis is, well, we can go this route for the least chance of you having to pay the debt, or we can go this route and then there's a slightly greater chance. We figure out the strategy designed not to pay that credit card debt.
So the strategy starts is if you're alive, you need to plan before
Absolutely.
you die.
But
there's work that we can do afterwards to help the estate maintain its assets, but we can do a whole lot more of keeping those creditors from getting paid if you come to see us while you're still alive.
I mean, things
And
that
competent.
are critically important. You do
Just
not you do not die
Everybody
with
dies.
the house in your estate. If you're widowed or single,
Right.
you do not want that house with equity in your estate at the point of death.
Well, and that's why, just from the
Lady
standpoint
Bird
of
deeds
the
take care of
possibility
that.
that you might end up in a nursing home and you want to pass that house on, you've got to do a ladybird deed along with your estate plan to make sure that you can do Medicaid planning.
I think, though, that especially in a situation like this, for every upside, there's going to be a downside, right? For a lot of people, they're not in this astronomical amount of debt that we need to worry about, right? In cases like that, a ladybird deed, giving it directly to, your children, perhaps when you pass, isn't going to be the right move because it protects from your creditors, but it's not going to protect your kids from tearing each other apart when they all have to agree on all the terms of the sale.
You have to decide what's going to happen with that house.
And so you really need to, pick your poison.
Right.
And ultimately, the answer is if you take steps while you're alive, it's going to be easier and it's going to be way less expensive for your family members than if you do nothing and you wait until they figure it out when you pass.
Yeah, first of all, if you wait, you can't change and fix things after the point where the person is dead. Up until the day he dies, even if he's not able to act on his own, if you have a durable power of attorney in place, you can still make the financial moves that need to be made in order to protect things. But if you wait till the day after, then the cards are played, and then we have to then figure out with the cards that are on the table what's the best thing we can do. It's more fun to be able to decide what cards are in the deck. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.